An early flurry of tries helped Ulster to a fairly comfortable win against Ospreys. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Early on, Marcus Ray with a lovely strip of the ball, and it actually pretty much lands into Jacob Stockdale's breadbasket. He then finds Lowry. Decent kick then forces Ospreys to carry it into touch, and Ulster, they look to attack off the line out. They spread it, but McCluskey returned from injury. He knocks it on. Ulster then win a penalty at the resulting scrum. They go to the corner. McCormick finds McCann at the line out. Ospreys doing pretty well to hold it up initially, but backs come in and over the ball goes. McCann is the scorer. Cooney misses the conversion, 5 points to 0. Ulster then come forward again. Good carry from Izuchukwu, recycled and good hands as they go wide. And Stockdale has an easy run in to get him away out wide. Conversion missed again, 10 points to 0. Ospreys then with a period of possession, but ball goes to deck. Werner Koch gets to it first, gives a nice out the back door offload. Then Lowry, he kicks ahead. Koch tries to put pressure on close to the Ospreys line, but he actually gets pinged for hands on the ground, so Ospreys able to clear. Then another Ospreys handling error leads to a period of Ulster pressure on the edge of the 22. They're offside. Ulster go to the corner. Ulster then give away the favourite penalty of Irish teams in the line out, and that's the lifter obstructing, and chance is gone there. It's amazing how many times like either the Ireland team or Irish provinces give that penalty away. Ospreys then win a scrum penalty and they go up the line to the edge of the 22, go through some phases, but Ulster's defence just forcing them back to halfway, and then they concede a penalty for sealing off. Aidan Morgan hits a sweet kick right into the corner. More pressure coming from Ulster. Maul making ground, and again backs come in, but this time Kieran Hardy comes in from the side and we have a TMO check. Hardy goes to the bin and it's a penalty try, 17 points to 0. Then from the restart, Ulster look to have bagged the bonus point try. Stockdale with a good carry then. I think it was Tom O'Toole through a gap, offloads to Morgan, quickly on to Lowry, and then Stockdale takes it over for his second. Cooney finally lands a conversion, but it all counts for nothing because Timo Check correctly picks up a forward pass in there and try gets chalked off, so we're back to 17-0. Ospreys then under pressure in their own half. Ball goes loose. Izuchukwu kicks it through. Walsh does well. It's hard to beat him and Cooney to the ball and dot down over the try line. Real try saver there. Goal line drop out to the Ospreys. Relentless pressure though coming from Ulster forces a penalty for offside. Pounding away at that line. Then back to pick and goes, and eventually Marcus Ray drives his way over, and now Ulster do have that bonus point try. Cooney converts from out wide and we're at 24 points to 0. Ulster then offside. Ospreys first entry into the 22 from the kick up the line. Ulster though stymie them all, but they do get pinged for jumping across, so we come back after a period of play, Ospreys kick the penalty to the corner. They go to their maul. Ulster seem to be dealing with it, but then the backs come in for Ospreys and they've kind of rolled it around the side of the Ulster maul defence. So even though it goes down, it means that Parry, as he breaks off, is outside that Ulster defence and he's able to get himself over to score. Dan Edwards converts, 24 points to 7, and that's half time. Into the second half then, Ospreys, another knock on from them. Ulster win a penalty at the scrum, kick to the corner. Sheridan claims the line out. The maul splinters. Ulster decide to spread it. Carson with a good carry, but then Morgan Morris does really well, gets over the ball and wins that penalty to relieve some pressure for the Ospreys. Then lovely kick into space from Jack Walsh, forces Cooney to kick it out, and Ospreys have a decent field position. And Ospreys starting to look a little bit better in the second half. Still no real cutting edge though from them. And as they try and move the ball, that almost inevitable error pops up and they knock on. Tipuric then gets pinged for a dangerous tackle and Ulster go up the line. Ospreys in at the side of the maul. Morgan Morris is the guilty man. Ulster decide to go to the corner. Maul a bit messy this time, so Ulster decide to spread it, and credit to Ospreys there as well. But then Ospreys are on the wrong side and they get a warning from the referee. McCormick then taps and goes from the penalty, goes straight to the line and catches the Ospreys defence on the hop. Over he goes to score. Cooney, a very poor conversion attempt from him, just kind of drag the ball, and not even anywhere close to the post. And he would have been very disappointed with that. And his kicking this year hasn't been anywhere near up to the standards that we expect from him and he expects from himself as well. Ospreys then with probably their best passage of play up to this point. Walsh and Tipuric to the fore, and there Morgan Morris carrying well too, but it breaks down. I think it was like Tipuric tried to kick through, the ball kind of ricocheted off an Ulster player and then Kamak hit him before it went into touch. But then a dummy throw from McCormick from the line-out gives Ospreys some possession in that Ulster 22. Ulster defence so soaks it up before Ospreys come into the side, but then we do have a TMO check for a high hit from Sheridan on Owen Williams. It's definitely a card. They decide there's indirect contact to the head. It's a yellow. It seems fair, honestly, in the context of some similar decisions recently. But if you go back maybe a year or a little bit more, you would have probably seen that as being a red card. But I think in the current environment, I think yellow was probably where it was going to be. So kind of fair, given that context. I think Ospreys then go to the corner from the penalty. They win under the penalty shortly after that, back into the corner. But Alan O'Connor then, I think he's the guy to get up, nick that line out, and Ulster clear, but Ospreys do come back at them. Another penalty and they go up the line. You feel like they need to turn the pressure into points. Morgan Morris, he goes charging down the touchline and just about stopped by Doak, a few meters short of the line. Ulster then infringe and they get a warning from the referee. Ospreys then manage to suck into defence with one out runners kind of close to the post and some pick and goes as well. Then they go to Witt and Giles gets over in the corner. Walsh misses the conversion. We're at 29 points to 12. Ulster then march a maul long way forward into the 22. Then they go to Witt. Some really sublime passes in there. Decent involvement from James Humphreys as well. He put in a brilliant pass. And then Jacob Stockdale with a very acrobatic finish in the corner, making sure that his feet were in the air and he avoided kind of going into touch as he just about grounded. And a bit of a stutter step as well helped him, I think, put the defender a little bit wrong-footed and helped him get into that corner. But really well worked from Ulster there. Doak converts that 36 points to 12. Ospreys then have some more possession, but lacked accuracy and no real pressure for the Ulster defence either. Full time is 36 points to 12. So we're going to have a quick look at some of the stats. So hang on, let me pull them up here from the URC website. Okay, there we go. So on attack, tries, 6 tries for Ulster and 2 for Ospreys. Ulster, some really good scores in there, and then some also just workmanlike, ones too, and that's really what you need. You can't, everything can't be like a worldie, as it were, and some good signs from Ulster felt in that. Ospreys, they got themselves a couple of tries, but because of the way the game started, never really even in touch. on the scoreboard. Possession then 47% for Ulster and 53% for Ospreys. I said Ospreys, a lot of possession, but Ulster pretty much able to soak up, for the most part at least. Clean breaks then 10 for Ulster and 4 for Ospreys. And defenders beaten 17 for Ulster, 14 for Ospreys. So it kind of speaks to the lack of cutting edge from Ospreys. Beat almost as many defenders, but the conversion rate to line breaks much lower than Ulster's. Offloads then 6 each in there as well. Onto defence. Territory 48% for Ulster, 52% for Ospreys. So again, Ospreys, more of the ball and more of the time in Ulster's half, but they spent a lot of time, honestly, between the edge of the Ulster 22 and the halfway line. Very little time in the 22, and even when they were in there, again, kind of lacking that ability to stretch the Ulster defence and make that actually count for them. Number of tackles then 108 for Ulster and 136 for Ospreys. Missed tackles 13 for Ulster, 17 for Ospreys. So tackle percentage 84 for Ulster is just below what you'd expect for kind of a passable rate in the URC, and Ospreys a little bit further down then on 82 themselves. Turnovers 1 for Ulster, 4 for Ospreys. That's one area where Ospreys come out on top there. Morgan Morris and Justin Tipperick, real threats at that breakdown. Kicking then, kicks retained 1 each. Wasn't a lot of kicking in the game. We had some periods, but both teams look fairly assured under the ball, claiming it. And then kicking success as always, just ignore it. Please somebody remove or make it actually valid. Next, penalties 14 for Ulster, 13 for Ospreys. So pretty close between the two teams. But again, the thing with Ospreys was they had those chances going up the line, etc. But you almost knew that there was going to be an issue, in there for them, and that's how it worked out for most of the game. Okay, so let's have a look at the individual stats then. Successful carries 6 for Jacob Stockdale. He had a brilliant game for Ulster, and he's going to be mentioned a lot, I think, in the stats. Morgan Morris as well. In a losing team, I thought he looked very impressive. 5 successful carries for him. Clean breaks then 3 for Jacob Stockdale. Keelan Giles with 2. That's 50% of the Ospreys clean breaks. So fair play to him as well. Didn't mention him too much. He did get his try, and but still, again, in a losing team, looked a bit of a bright spark. Defenders beaten then 4 for Jacob Stockdale, 2 for Morgan Morris. Meters made 111 for Jacob Stockdale and 54 for Keelan Giles. Okay, video cut out for some reason, so I just had to re-record the last little bit. So I think we were on offload. So let me find it here. Yeah, so 3 for Michael Lowry, who he seems to be getting back to that kind of fizzy kind of best form that we've seen from him in the past. Not like making huge line breaks or anything like that, but still a threat and looking to offload the ball as well. Jack Walsh 2 then for the Ospreys, and I thought again another player who had a decent run out for the Ospreys. Started a fullback, and then I think he moved into 10 later in the game. Onto defence then. Number of tackles 14 for Marcus Ray, 17 for Lewis Lloyd. So he did his part at least. And then turnovers 1. Michael Lowry with 1 for Ulster, and Justin Tipperick with 2 for Ospreys. Tipperick, I thought both sides of the ball looked impressive. He always does, I think, when you see him. He was one of those players who very rarely have poor games, and again, even in a team that got well beaten, he still looked decent there as well. Okay, so quick talk about each of the teams as well. So Ospreys, they've got a lot of players missing through injury. I think it's about 17 out at the minute, they said in the commentary. and any team is going to struggle with that. But I think it's a little bit deeper for them. They don't seem right compared to, how they finished last season. Even with injury worries, you would still expect, if they still had that confidence from last year, for them to be a bit better than we've seen them for most of the season, honestly. Never really looked like worrying Ulster in terms of the win. They did settle after Ulster's fast start, but by that time the game was kind of gone, and really feels like they need a result to lift the squad. Ulster shot out of the traps into a big lead early on. Likes of Sheridan and Chuku returning from emerging island duty really gave them something extra. Stockdale I thought was excellent. McCluskey a little bit rusty in the midfield, but Ben Carson next to him was quietly impressive in there, felt. And they're showing steady improvement through the season and seem to be on the right track. Okay, so that's the end of this one. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one.